What is up? Not the guy you want to go up against on the mat, David Carr. Thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, we're pumped to have you back on Sports Spectrum and talk about just your wrestling journey, what you have coming up, and how the Lord has led you all through it. But I start every podcast asking my guests what they're all about at the moment. Could be big, small, serious, silly. What is David all about right now?
Yeah, I mean, right now, just the normal things, just training. I got married 6 months ago, hanging out with my wife, just getting, being able to do things with her, training. Like, it's been really fun right now at the moment. That's life for me right now.
So fun. And with your wedding, do you have a favorite memory or something that you'll remember forever from that day?
Yeah, for my wedding, we had like a little special entrance for the, um, I'm blanking on the name of like the after party thing,
The
pretty
bridal
much.
part for the bridal party or the bridal party? Yeah,
The
bridal party, right?
reception, yeah, so there's like so then we're coming in and our guests are sitting down, and when we come in, like I go in first, they announce us like we're wrestling in a match, so I come in and then she comes in and we get in a stance and then we like hug, kiss, cut the cake, and it was just a fun little thing. It was really fun, and then the whole day was just special. It went by like this though. It was so fast.
That is crazy. Well, I'm sure you have a video of that entrance that you can look back on forever, but I've never heard of that and I love it. I love bringing in, what you're doing into that moment. So I'm sure
Mhm.
your guests thought that was awesome, but I did see on social media you got to surprise your mom with something very special recently. Can you just describe what that was?
Yeah, so recently I was able to God's just blessed me and put me in a position where I was able to get my mom a car, which was just super amazing. And her reaction, I was able to catch on camera, and it was just so special. And just that whole day was just great to be able to do that. And she was just over the moon. Just she had been praying. She works at a church, and she had been praying like this was the year. I hope that God like just blessed me with the resources to save up enough money to get one, things like that. And I don't know. I've been wanting to do it and saving and trying to find the right time to do it, and then was able to do it. So it was really special.
What a cool moment. And for people listening, if you haven't seen the video, you need to go check it out. But I just love that and loved her reaction as well. So definitely go check that out. But so cool that you were able to do that for her and see her reaction as well. I don't know her obviously, but you can definitely smile after watching that. Such a cool moment. And I've also noticed from you, you do a great job of documenting your career. So I have to ask, when did you start doing these vlogs and vlogging your training?
Just recently, I like, there was someone else that was kind of doing that with wrestling a little bit. I was like, oh, that's so cool. I feel like people would want to maybe see, and there was another opportunity to kind of just be a light and just kind of show my personality. And so that's been fun, just kind of documenting my wrestling journey and showing people the fun things I get to do with wrestling, and hopefully being a light while I'm doing it. And that's been fun. So that's kind of a recent thing I've been trying to do. It's been fun just using my social media that way, and YouTube and things like that.
I'm sure it also gives people a glimpse into how rigorous the training probably is and the full extent of it. Is there maybe one thing that you show in your vlogs that people don't know about all the training that it takes to perform at the level that you're performing at?
Yeah, I think even like the last tournament, just weight cut, like certain things. Like I remember I did like a vlog at the World Championships, and the sauna was off. The Something happened with the facility, and you kind of have to just be flexible and on the spot. And like you're in another country competing, so the food's different, and people get to kind of see that. Like I feel like they don't think about it; they just see you wrestling uh, on the biggest stages, and they forget like, man, there's like complications. There's maybe I'm running to catch a flight or something. It's funny, but it's also like, man, if I miss this flight, I'm a day behind. So it's like things like that. I feel like it's real, it's authentic, and they get to see, things can be tough, especially with cutting weight. You have to be so exact on what you eat, when you eat, and things like that in your diet.
I never thought about how severe and how serious the different food is where you're going as to what you do specifically. When I was playing lacrosse in college,
Hmm.
obviously that was a thing. Like, okay, what's this hotel going to be like when we were on the road? And you bring your own snacks. But there's no specific like number or pressure really to hit a certain
Mm.
weight, and so that is super super interesting just how serious that is and the effect of that. But yeah, hey, you got to be careful if you keep the vlogs too real and too entertaining that somebody's going to take it and make it a real show. So that is super fun. And something else that I loved about your vlogs was, and you mentioned it being a light, is just how you share your faith and living it out, right? And I'm curious, have you always been outspoken and bold about your faith, or do you feel like maybe there was a time in your life when you might have hesitated a little bit to talk about Christ?
Yeah, definitely not always. I feel like now there's like different ages of like people are even more bold than I remember being before. But I remember there's this I can't remember what sport they did, but there was a person I remember following them a long time ago. It was on I became friends with them. It was on like social media and they're posting these Bible studies or like just talking about their faith very openly. And I was like, don't you get like nervous or like your friends like you're like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And they're like, "No, I just do it and I feel like God wants us to be bold." And I remember they were kind of challenging me a little bit to be bold. And I was just like that was all I needed. And I remember just being like, "Okay, from this point forward, it's not going to be like it was just little things, but I'm just going to continue to be more bold in my faith and continue to like hopefully I can just be a light with especially with the things that God's blessed me with and the talents. And I want to be able to point my talents to Him because He's blessed me with them. Every good gift we have is from Him and above from heaven. So, and I'm not playing for my own glory, but to glorify Him and Christ, not in, like Christ in me to let people see that. And so once that was kind of more and more every year, I feel like I was able to just do it in different ways, and it's been fun. It's been a good journey.
That's really cool. And it shows you the power that social media has and, what people are constantly posting. Like there's strength in numbers. And obviously what we put out there, it's more about our actions and our heart posture. But social media is a powerful tool. And I can think back to times in my life when I was encouraged by, maybe older girls who were posting about their faith in athletics. And it really encouraged me to be bolder, right? And so
Mhm.
it's really cool the ripple effects that you've probably had and don't even know yet. But I'm curious because to get to a place of boldness, you have to have that deep internal desire to want to share from your own personal faith, right? It's not something that just
Mhm.
comes up because you're a Christian. Like you genuinely inside have that boldness in you. Was there a specific moment or season of life where you really felt, hey, I went from like being a Christian to like really pursuing God and being excited to tell people about Him?
Yeah, for sure. I remember when I was a sophomore is really when my faith kind of took off. I remember like my dad's a pastor, and so I grew up in the Christian home, but I remember just not having like a strong relationship. I'm going to church on Sunday and Wednesday Bible studies, but my life didn't match up to my faith, I would say. Just kind of not really thinking about them throughout the day. There were certain sins I had to, work on. And once I remember trying to like do both almost. And I remember going to a point where I was like, I can't do both. I have to either fully surrender or like I don't know, like there's it's not working out the way I'm trying to do it. And so I was kind of one foot in, one foot out. And then that's when I really just kind of committed myself. I believe he was like my Lord and Savior. He died for my sins, but I didn't really have that full end. Like, man, I gotta like go kill this sin, and I gotta go be more bold, and I gotta be more outspoken because he's changed my life. And that was my sophomore year. I kind of just said a prayer and asked God to help me through it. I couldn't do it on my own strength to make these changes. And yeah, slowly just got community. And as I was doing that, I just wanted to kind of share my journey. I was kind of sharing people. I was continue to get closer to God and get community. I just wanted to share that with other people, and hopefully they could like do the same or find that type of realization that like, man, he's worth it. He's worth it.
That's so cool. Thank you for sharing that because I think a lot of people, even for themselves, might think, yeah, like I'm a Christian, I'm following Jesus. But like for you to say, hey, there is more. And even you probably had friends who looked at you during that time and thought, like, oh, David, like he's sold out for the Lord. And I just love you sharing that and being open about it because I think there is so much more, like you said. And really going 2 feet in rather than 1 foot in, 1 foot out is the way to do life. And something that I think is interesting with faith and wrestling is you have to be strong in both things, right?
Hmm.
And there it takes a lot of physical strength to do what you do and to perform at the level that you do. But has there been a time throughout your career as a wrestler where you said, "Man, I can't rely on my own physical strength. Like I need God's strength in this moment to get me through?"
Oh, for sure. I'm sure you've had some similar things in your career with lacrosse. I think for wrestling, that's why I like wrestling a lot, is because I can't do it on my own. I have to. It's like it's one on one, and you're out there by yourself. And so I think about like, man, I feel like God's with me and guiding me. And it's so I get so nervous before I wrestle sometimes that I'm like, all right, Lord, like I've done everything I can. I've trained as hard as I can. It's up to your hands. It's up to you. You know, whether I win or lose, I'm gonna give you the glory. And I just think like I train like it's all up to me, and I pray like it's all up to God, and then I just release it to him, and I just surrender it, and then I just go. And like that's the moments like in the big matches, I wouldn't say every match, but the big ones, I really have to say that prayer and surrender.
That is such a cool visual of it being one-on-one, but really, like, it's kinda two-on-one in a way when
Hmm.
you bring the
Yeah.
Lord into it, and so I love that. That is such a cool visual that now I'll get to think about when I see you compete and do your thing out there, and I think that's when you can be free as an athlete, right? When you're like, "It's I'm gonna do all the hard work and work as if it depends on me, but I'm gonna trust that the Lord is fully in this, and he already knows the outcome of
Yep.
the fight and the competition that I'm about to go into." But you mentioned your dad earlier, who is also an elite wrestler, so you have it in your
Yep.
blood. What role has he played throughout your wrestling career?
Yeah, I mean, he's the man. I really look up to him. You know, his faith, his character, and then just an elite wrestler. You know, Olympics, national titles, world titles, you name it, he's achieved it. And but more importantly, I think he's just such a man of God. You know, I look up to him, how he treats my mom, their relationship, the way he treats others. Those are the type of things that I look to follow in those footsteps, and also wrestling. I want to try to achieve as much as I can before I'm done wrestling. And it's really cool to be able to have a good relationship with him. And I'm blessed to have him steward me and give me wisdom on outside of wrestling and wrestling's things.
Such a cool relationship that you have with him, just hearing you talk about it, but also in your sport. And there are countless memories that I can remember with my parents after big wins and championships, but also losing championships and just having like a special moment with them that whether it was, celebrating or crying, I'll never forget. Is there a standout moment that you can think of when you've had that moment with your father in the context of wrestling?
Yeah, I would say he's definitely been there through all the highs and lows. I would say, funny enough, when the championships and the winning, it's definitely super easy to go to my dad and like celebrate. Sometimes when I lose, I like going to my mom and just because my mom's a little bit softer. She'll just give me a hug and just be like, "Oh, it's okay. Like you did so good." And my dad still, he's like he'll champion me and be like, "You did a great job." He's definitely he's like he's my coach too. So it's like he's like, "You want dad or you want coach?" And I'm like, "I just want dad." And he's like, "All right, come here, let me give you a hug. It's all right." So so definitely during the highs and the lows, it's great to have just parents supporting you.
I love that. Dad or coach. That is so good. And when you think back to your youth wrestling days, right? Because you had to do a lot of work to get to where you are right now. And I'm sure a lot of listening to your dad coach you up and taking both the dad and the coach, even when maybe you didn't want to hear it. So there's a lot of hard work that goes into that. Is there a specific moment when you were competing growing up that you thought, "Man, I'm actually pretty good at this"? And I know athletes don't like to shout themselves out, but everybody has one or a moment or a season that they went through where they thought, "Okay, this is clicking, like, I wanna take this to the next level."
Yeah, I think it took a little bit for me to get there. Um, maybe I would say maybe my eighth grade year. I was starting to kind of figure out wrestling a little bit more, and I think after that year, I remember just thinking like, man, I can really do this. Like if I really work hard, I can kind of do the things I want, but it takes a lot of, dedication. Because at first, I feel like the eighth grade year when I started, I wasn't very like super good, but I worked really hard and I really believed in my coaching, and I saw how much better I got when I did that. And so then I just thought, like, man, that's the recipe. Just work really hard, put your head down, and you can try to achieve your goals. So that was, I say then I was like, man, I think I could be good at wrestling.
Can you speak to sacrifices? Because I think a lot of people go to your Instagram or watch your vlogs or watch you on TV and they're just going to see the successes and they're going to see the competition, but they might not understand the sacrifices that you've had to make since that middle school time, right? Like years and years and years of it. When you think about having success as a wrestler, what's maybe one sacrifice that you think has helped you have the success that you've had?
Yeah, I think, with to do something great, you definitely have to sacrifice. And for me, I was just able to sacrifice, maybe something that was maybe fun in the moment. Like sometimes I was working out on Christmas or on my birthday, or I would miss, one of my friends' birthday parties or something like that, or a dance, you know. But I remember just thinking like it's gonna be worth it when, at the stage I'm at, I'm wrestling in a pro wrestling league, Real American Freestyle. I'm traveling the world. I was just in France this year wrestling for Team USA. So it's like it's just the cool things I'm able to do now. It's worth it. Like I might have missed maybe some cake and ice cream with my friends to go train, and I had to diet, but like it's worth it. When it's all said and done, like to be able to do the things I'm doing now, I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't take it back. It's great.
And you mentioned France, and I saw you also were in Croatia, and so you've been to some really cool places that wrestling has brought you. Also, a really cool place, Iowa, because you went to Iowa State and won 2 national championships there. And I don't know what you prefer: Croatia, France, Iowa, different landscapes. So take it how you want. But what's something that you recall from your Iowa State experience that you're like, man, I'm so glad I went through that or I experienced that because it has helped me in my pro journey today.
Yeah, I would say in Iowa, I really do like just the people here. The experience has been really well, and I think that you know having just hard like having some losses and having some difficult times, you have to adjust, and you have to like the true champion is how they respond to failure and your relationship with failure. How can you look at it and reflect and get better from it? And so through being at Iowa State and wrestling and doing all that here, I'm able to make those adjustments. And so now when I'm at the level that I'm at, I'm able to look at, this is what I got to do better. This is how I can get better. And I can really analyze it and not take it personally, if I win or lose. And ultimately, my identity is in Christ. So, I've already won and I've already hit the lottery because Christ died on the cross for my sins and I get to spend eternity with him. And so being able to practice that separation of what I do and who I am is very important. I was able to do that at Iowa State, and now I can wrestle more free and have even more fun with my career now.
It's such a real connection to like winning in your competition in your sport and what true success is in life, right? And what the real champion definition that you gave was awesome because it's almost like for me, if I don't take the lessons that my sport has taught me and apply them to my real like life in my relationship with the Lord, then like I'm missing the point, you know? And so I love that you said that. But I have to ask because you've been all these cool places. Do you have a favorite place that wrestling has brought you?
A favorite place? I have an app on my phone where I keep track of all the places I've been from wrestling. Obviously, they get to go all over. I think I would say I went to Italy. I was there out of the country for wrestling, but then I just went there after as like just for fun. And Italy was the best. The food, a beautiful place. I don't know. It was in Rome, Italy, and it was great. So I thought that was pretty cool.
All right, I've never been. I need to go at some point. That is on the bucket list for sure. But I want to talk more about the competition specifically because I have seen you maybe like call out an opponent, maybe even like a former UFC fighter to join you on the mat. Can you just describe like what this side of what you do?
Yeah. So with RAF, it's kind of fun for the fans and for me, really, when you can call someone out to wrestle next or call out an opponent. And so my first match, you know, I called out Bilal Muhammad, former world champion UFC, and he's a mixed martial artist. So it's like, I'm watching this guy. I like UFC, so I watch him. He's kicking and punching people, and it's cool. And I'm like, all right, let's get this guy on the wrestling mat. So I get to wrestle him. That was crazy.
This was
That
fully
was
your idea?
It was RAF a little bit and a little bit of
Okay.
me, because I was like, I want to wrestle someone in the UFC because they have this huge spotlight. Like, they're superstars and they're really cool people. Like, I love UFC. And then Izzy and RF staff, Chad, they were able to find someone in my weight category and someone who was a high profile person who would maybe want to do it. And so then it worked out perfectly. And a lot of props to him for taking the match. And then I had another guy that I wanted to wrestle, and that maybe be in the works for the future. But uh, I'm happy with my matchup now, and I'm excited for it.
It is such a fun and interesting part of your sport, right? That is very unique. I was thinking about it while you're talking. Who am I going to call up to the next podcast? Like, David Carr's friend, I want you on the podcast. Can you just describe a little bit more about like the confidence that that takes? Because it is something in sports that I have never experienced. And I think there's like a fun side to it, right? Like you're saying, but also like you are dead serious. Like you are dead
Yeah.
serious.
Yeah, and that's like with wrestling, it's definitely it's a newer thing for me. I think it's interesting. I literally had to like practice like how I'm gonna call this
Say
person out,
it.
because I want it to like mean something. I want them to like want to face me, and I want it to be like, I don't know. I want it to be intentional. And so it's really fun. I think it makes wrestling a lot of fun, and it makes the fans really get into it. It's like, "Oh, this guy's calling you out. He thinks he can beat you. Oh, you think you can beat him? All right, let's throw him in the mat. Let's see. Let's see what happens." So I think it takes confidence. It takes courage, and yeah, it's fun. It's definitely pretty fun.
So fun. I just like the call out part. I'm like, that could be it for me. I think that's the best part. But I think something too that's cool about that is you still have this soft spirit about you and you still are kind, right? And it's this like aggressive call out, but like you really are filled with the Lord. And like
Mm,
that's your guiding light. And so I'm interested because that's hard to do alone, and especially in an environment that is wrestling, right? Just and the
mhm.
nature of the sport. What does your faith community in the wrestling world look like?
It's good. I feel like the people, other wrestlers, so many different personalities. I feel like for me, I'm a little bit like, I am like bubbly and outgoing, and so it's tough sometimes to get into the wrestling mode. Like, oh, I gotta like beat this person up. But I think some people have that personality. Some people are more laid back, but I feel like there's a lot of believers that I get to be around and talk about, competitiveness, and talk about, you know losing the ego, dying to your flesh, and things like that. And so, it's fun. I try to be entertaining, but I also want to be respectful, and also want to be um, a good representative of Christ too.
Is there a specific wrestler who you have known for a long time, or maybe even just a really short time, or never have met before, who you just say, "Hey, I really respect the way that they do this lifestyle, and I want to model after them in a way"?
Yeah, I would say I really like Jordan Burroughs. He's like the GOAT of our sport. He's like the LeBron, or like the Messi. I guess maybe the GOAT conversation for other sports are maybe up for discussion, but for our sport, Jordan Burroughs, 7-time world champ, Olympic champ, one of the most decorated guys in our sport, and he's a follower of Christ, and he has a beautiful family, and they're just great people. I'm blessed to even get to know them and be around them. And since I've gotten to know them even more, and his family and him, like, just great people, and I look up to them so much. Like, their whole family is just great, and I've got to spend some time with them, and man, great people, awesome. Like, if I have anything going on, or I'm struggling with something, I know I can always call him, and he'll give me solid advice.
That's cool. And I'm sure even just the daily to-dos of what it takes to be the athlete that he is and do it in the right way, like you're saying, especially just how you are in your family, right? And how you lead in that way, not only in your sport and in your competition. Do you mind describing maybe your process and your lead up to your competition day?
Yeah, I would say it's a lot of the closer it gets to the competition, the more I try to um, kind of quiet my thoughts, try to be very still, read some scripture, listen to something that's going to be motivating to me or inspirational to me. And then the closer I get, maybe it's match day, continue to listen to this positive stuff. I want to be around positive people who are smiling and who are just uplifting. And yeah, I get my nutrition in, get my reading in, get some quiet time. I like to get some sunlight if there's somewhere I can go out get some sunlight. My match is in Arizona, so it's gonna be warm. Like to get outside, get some sunlight, be in a little bit of nature, and then just lock in. It gets closer to match, get my warm up in. My wife always writes me a letter, and I'll read that before every match. It's usually like she'll put some scripture in there, just a message, and then once I read that, it's go time. I kind of lock in, kind of get more fierce, a little bit more, just very focused on what I need to do to win.
I love that from your wife with the note that she writes you. I think that is so cool and definitely a form of a weapon that you have as well to get you ready in the sunlight. Like I could take sunlight any time of day, no matter what I'm doing. So that is good.
Yeah,
But let's talk about you gearing up to defend your Real American Freestyle title. So exciting and what an awesome opportunity, but also comes with a lot of pressure. So what's going on in your head leading up to this?
yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to defend the belt. I'm excited to compete, and it's in a cool spot in Arizona. For me, I think if you have any type of pressure, it's a privilege. You're in the spot that you probably prayed for. You're praying for these things, and if you have any type of pressure or expectation, that's a blessing. That's what you prayed for. That's what God's blessed you with. So you got to be able to handle that. And I feel like I've been able to kind of handle it well, and I'm not too stressed out or nervous. I'm sure I will be nervous when I get ready to compete, but right now I'm just enjoying it all. Just taking in all the flowers, taking in all the things that are cool about the event. The production's great. Um, the the lead up is great. You get to meet fans. You get to do all this thing. So I'm just trying to just take it with gratitude and just with the right perspective.
That's so exciting for you. And I'm curious because there's probably going to be a lot of young wrestlers who are watching you compete and are excited for the like production and the fun things like with the build up and the lead up, like you mentioned. What's maybe one piece of advice? It could be tactical advice, more emotional, mental advice, spiritual advice that you would give a young wrestler who's looking at you and is going to be watching you compete in this upcoming battle and defending your title and your belt to say, I maybe didn't know this when I started college. We can even go to then. Like I didn't know this going into college, but I know it now and I wish I would have known it before.
Yeah, I would say have a routine. And a routine, I mean, like, know what you're gonna eat, know what type of warm up you're gonna do, or what warm up you like to do. Some people like to do different things. Like I like to do stance in motion and move my feet. I like to stretch, use some bands. Like just figure out what you like, and then once you find out what that is, stick with it, and then you can make little tweaks. I think that was big, and then also take time for your mind. Take time to maybe unplug and no phone, no computer, nothing. Just take time to just listen to your thoughts, read your scripture, or read a good book, or have a nice conversation with somebody. No phones, and just really just try to unwind. It's easy to feel a lot of pressure when you're always on social media and do all this stuff, but if you can really just unplug, especially for a big competition, and just have a good conversation, get a good cup of coffee or tea, and just relax. I think that I should have did that a little bit more in college, is just try to unplug and unwind a little bit more.
Well, unplugging, I'm sure, like you said, is super important. But if you were to plug in and listen to something before the game or before you compete in your match, what are you listening to?
I listen to I usually listen to like some gospel music before I wrestle, just to get my heart centered and get me ready. I used to listen to this preacher. It's on YouTube. I actually listened to it. at my last competition in Croatia. It's pretty much this preacher talking about like I don't even know. He's saying like I've probably listened to it a bunch of times, but he's just saying like if you think life is supposed to be easy, it's not. Like God is putting you through this certain situation you're in now to bless you to handle it with courage. You can't have courage if you're not like fearful or nervous about something. You need those to be courageous. If you're just everything's so easy, it's like you don't need to be courageous. Like I know I'm gonna do it. But you're on that part where it's like, I don't know if I can do it, and there's a little bit of fear. Now you have the opportunity to be courageous. And so this preacher kind of goes on about that. And it's like real intense and more motivational stuff, like the way he preaches. And then I'll listen to that. It gets me fired up, like right
Let's
before a
go.
match.
All right, maybe we'll have to link it in this podcast because now I'm super interested and need to hear it. And I love that what you said, opportunity to be courageous, because I think it's all about your perspective, right? And a lot of big, awesome things coming for you. But also, moments when you're probably going to have the opportunity to be courageous. So, David, thank you so much for taking time out of your training and your weekend to come on the show. I'm so excited to point people to you. If they don't already know you, check out you in all the competitions that you have coming up, and hopefully in the Olympics someday as well later on in a few years. But seriously, we're cheering you on in all things. And thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, appreciate you having me. This was really cool, a really big blessing. I love what you do for the sports and faith, and your guys' social media is great. I love seeing just all the athletes being so bold in their faith and getting the platform to talk about their faith and give advice to the young athletes, men and women. So it's really cool.